Hello, my dear friends. What is going on, guys? Apologize for the lack of consistency. I've been all over the place these past 2 months. Honestly, it's been a busy 2 months. November, December, ever since Thanksgiving, even before Thanksgiving. A lot of things happening, moving, job opportunities, holidays. I know I'm a lot worse this year than I was in the years in the past. I think this is my second Christmas with you guys. I apologize for that. I am sorry about that. And once again, this episode, guys, I'm telling you up front, it's only going to be about 20 minutes long. I don't have the time. And I know this is a bunch of excuses and I know I could probably find time, but frankly, if I look at my room right now, it looks like a bomb went off. My room looks like a bomb went off, and that's just kind of where I am right now with everything. Honestly, that's just like this is just where we are. We got a few topics we want to get into today. Nothing crazy. Pharmaceuticals and one other one I wrote down. Let me pull up my phone real quick. Oh yeah, Fox Tree. Okay, so yeah, I'm actually going to get my hair cut today. So currently it's 9:44 in the morning. I got to stop doing this podcast at 10:05 a.m. And then from 10:05 a.m., I'm going to eat and shower and change and then leave here at 10:15 a.m. Go to my haircut. I'm going to get all my haircut cut off. I don't know what I'm going to get. I'm going to get like a business casual look, whatever that means. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to get my haircut. Let me just say that. I wish I didn't have to, but I know I should. I like my hair. I worked hard on this. Like, it looks bad right now with just sweating and it's nasty, but I worked hard on it. But yeah, so this is gonna be a short episode. I don't want to get into too much. There's just a few observations that I've been seeing a little bit out there in the world. Christmas tree fire. This is fascinating. Fox News Christmas tree set on fire in Midtown Manhattan. Man arrested after all-American Christmas tree set on fire outside Fox headquarters. Guys, it's a homeless man. Shout out to you, bro. You do your thing, man. You know what he needed? He was cold. The man was cold. He needed a fire. So he decided to go to the biggest tree that he could find. And to be fair, it's Manhattan, right? Since it's Manhattan, you don't really find a lot of trees everywhere. Unless you go to Central Park, and you're not going to set a fire in Central Park. You're going to do it in Manhattan. A 49-year-old homeless man has been arrested on suspicion of setting fire early Wednesday morning to the large Christmas tree outside the News Corp headquarters, home to Fox News, New York Post, and Wall Street Journal, according to reports. Fox News is in the same building as New York Post and Wall Street Journal. Who owns News Corp? That's a News Corp. Who's this dude? What's this? Robert Murdoch. Yeah, that guy right there. Robert Murdoch. I feel like Robert Murdoch is the most powerful person. God damn it. Just, drives me crazy, bro. Yeah. Definitely the most powerful person out there. The dude's worth $21 billion. He's 90 years old, and he's an Australian man. Like, that's crazy. Why can't we have, like, an American making our news? It's kind of funny, like an Australian dude is the head of our news. Wonder if he's like twisting stories and putting them out there. If you ever look up like news stories about America from like other countries, they're hilarious. Like I was watching so Joe Biden, you know how he can't talk? He mumbles a lot and he's old. The dude's old. The dude's a grandpa. He needs to step down. I'm just kidding. He doesn't need to step down. You do your thing, Joe Biden. How did we just get over the fact that he's sniffing girls' hair? He like grabs him by the head and like puts his whole face in their scalp and just sniffs away. Did we we just forgot about that? That just happened and we don't care anymore? But yeah, someone set this building on fire. This tree. No injuries were reported after the fire was started around 12:15 a.m. at Fox Square, the plaza outside the building of Manhattan, of downtown Manhattan, Midtown Manhattan. Dramatic footage Posted social media shows a 50-foot tree engulfed in flames before being extinguished by fire responders. According to the New York ABC affiliate WABC, police have identified Craig Tamanaha, 49, as a suspect and have charged him on 8 counts, including arson and disorderly conduct. Police said he acted alone and that his motive was unclear, but that they were looking into whether mental illness was a factor. Hey, listen up, guys. Mental illness was the main factor. You know, this homeless thing, this homeless crisis is so fascinating to me. We watched, like, there's this little documentary on Netflix. Taylor and I watched it, and I don't know what the message they were trying to put out there was. I think it was called, like, From Their Eyes or Their Eyes Only. Some J. Cole album cover name. I don't know exactly what the message was, but what they said, they're basically, they followed homeless people in San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Seattle. And this is always so fascinating to me. And I'm going to be a little bit political here. And I'm not trying to I'm not trying to pick a side or the other. I'm just trying to like share this factual information. There's 3 cities there, including, you can add Portland in there. They could have added Portland in there. But there's 3 cities that are known for homelessness: Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles. I would say Los Angeles is now number 1. San Francisco was number 2, and Seattle's up there too now. But these were like the 3 places in the country where homelessness was at an all-time high. And also, coincidentally, this is also the places where there's some of the most drug overdoses, and people are dying. And it's always so strange to me because there's this idea of homelessness are just people who are unhoused. They don't have a house. And it's, yes, they don't have a house. But the reason why they don't have a house is because they have severe mental illness issues on the vast majority of them, not every single one of them. Some people choose to be homeless. I totally get it. But there's a lot of people out there who are suffering with severe mental illness, severe trauma, severe addiction to drugs and alcohol. Therefore, they cannot hold down a job. Therefore, they cannot hold down a relationship. Therefore, they cannot keep up with rent. They cannot keep up with their health care because they don't have a job, because they can't, they're not right in the brain. And I'm not bashing them for that. But the way you would go after that, the way you would fix that, is you wouldn't try to just force these people into a house. Because what ends up happening is they get kicked out of those houses. They can't be in those houses because they break the rules of these houses. And it's always so fascinating with me with these very progressive quotation marks around it, air quotes. These very progressive cities tend to be the cities where there's the most homelessness. And I don't think that that's a coincidence. I think what ends up happening is we find ourselves that everybody needs a house. There's this idea that housing is a human right. It's a right that everyone should have. And I agree. It is a right that everyone should have, but it's not a right that everyone can maintain. It's a right that is hard to maintain. I mean, just for me, I'm going through the process right now looking for an apartment, and it's not like the easiest thing to do in the world. Like I'm a mentally stable person. I have a formal education. I have a solid history of work. But even for someone like me, it's hard. It's not hard for me to get an apartment. I can get an apartment, but I can see from my experience applying to apartment complexes and townhouses and whatever, it can be difficult for somebody. It can be difficult for anybody. You know, if you're a felon, it's really hard to get an apartment. And you can see this cycle that if you get hit with a felony at the age of 19 or 20 years old, you're kind of screwed for life because you can't get a job, a well-paying job, because most places won't pay you well because you are a felon. They won't even hire you. The places that do have like these programs where the companies get a bonus if they hire felons, and that is a thing that's a thing that exists. Certain companies have these programs where if they hire you and you are a felon, they get more money through the back door. So they're hiring you for profit. You are a profit to them. You're helping them hit higher numbers. You're helping them make more money. They're paying you. they're probably getting paid $20 on the hour. You're getting paid $12 an hour. They're probably getting hit with an $8 profit. I'm just making that up, but that's a thing that happens. That's a thing that happens in business. And therefore you get these jobs. I'm not going to say any companies' ideas or company names because I don't want to be wrong about that. But you get these jobs, and then once you get these jobs, your paycheck is $400 every 2 weeks. That's $800 a month. Your apartment is maybe, if you can get an apartment that's $700, maybe a month. Maybe you can get an apartment that's $2,000 or, $1,800 a month, and you can split it with two people. $1,800, $800 a month. That's exactly your paycheck. So what do you do for groceries, all that other stuff? So you can see this cycle, the way that it can really it's really hard to get out of, and that's a real issue. And I think that's an issue that a lot of these cities, when they address homelessness, all they think about, and I understand, like the idea makes sense. I think the idea is that if we get them in a home, then they can get back on their feet. And I get it. I totally respect that idea, but that works for most people, but that doesn't work for a decent amount of people. I have family that if you put them in a house alone with nobody else there, and they have a house that they didn't work for, aka they don't have a job, so they have a lot of downtime, they're not going to stay in that house. They self-handicap themselves. I have a tendency to do that. I self-handicap myself. They self-handicap themselves. They make sure that they don't succeed. And a lot of that's like it's like a confidence thing. It's the way they view themselves. It's a mental illness in some cases. It's a symptom of mental illness. And you can't just constantly, like, if you look at like these cities, like they build like these little houses on the side of the road. But all they are just solid walls now of homeless people. And like I also hate like this idea that homeless people are like are different. Like I don't want to get personal, but like people have this idea that homeless people they're not different than you and I. Like there's this, I think Rogan has this classic quote where he talks about he was out with a friend and he gave money to a homeless person. His friend says, "Why are you going to give money to that person? They're just going to go do drugs." And Rogan says, "I'm just going to go do drugs." I think it was Rogan. It might have been Terrence McKenna. Maybe Terrence McKenna was quoting, or maybe Rogan was quoting Terrence McKenna. But it's that idea. It's that idea that homelessness is not just fixed because you build something. Just like infrastructure isn't just fixed because you put money into it. Like it's crazy, this idea. Like if you guys have listened to, and I only have, oh man, this would be a good podcast, man. I have including the top searches this year on Google, I have only like 10 minutes left. I feel like this could be a good podcast too. I'm sorry, guys. I got people to call. I have to do certain things today. But I don't have a timer. But yeah, it's not that simple. And I like the idea that it is simple, but it's not. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen that Elon Musk interview, but he talks about that. They ask him, "Do you think this infrastructure bill should be passed?" And he says, "No, it should not be passed." And it's your initial reaction is like, yeah, what the hell is he talking about? People need that money. We need that money. When has the government ever been successful building anything? Anything. Like, it's very rare when the government, I mean, you watch these people. You watch them on Capitol Hill. They're idiots. All of them. That dude from Tennessee, the dude in the wheelchair, he's up there talking about abortion like we're living in a made-up world. You hear AOC's crying in Congress. This is crazy. AOC, salute to her. She's a woman. She's a powerful woman. She's young. I think she has very progressive ideas. I think some of them they need to be contained a little bit. But when you're a woman and you're a woman of color and you're a strong, powerful woman, you shouldn't be crying in front of Congress. That's not a good look. That's not a good look. You're crying in front of Congress. No one's going to take you serious after that. No one takes anybody serious when they start crying. It was crazy. You have Nancy Pelosi up there who can't even speak right. She's up there like food's falling out of her face. Her dentures are falling out of her eyes. You have Chuck Schumer like this, and like I don't know. And then you have Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, who like everybody is like pissed off at Kamala Harris. All her support staff is just leaving. They're all just quitting. And then like the newspapers are coming out and saying, well, you know, this isn't like that big of a deal. It happens at times, but it's like, no, this doesn't happen all the time. If you look at the history of this, it doesn't happen all the time. This like staff doesn't just leave like that. The way they're leaving, that's not normal. That's not a thing that happens. And like, you're not going to trick us and you're not going to make us believe that this is what happens all the time. This just doesn't happen all the time. And then I think people are finally starting to realize like these politicians are, what did Elon say? Elon said they're the biggest corporation in America. They're the biggest corporation in the world. They're the only corporation that doesn't have to pay back their debt. They don't have to pay back the debt. We just watched it last week where people are up there, let's push the debt ceiling higher. Imagine if I did that. Hey, I'm going to push my debt even more and more, but you're not going to punish me for that. I'm going to keep using my credit card. The reason why people use credit cards is to get things that they can't get at the time, but you make payments in the future and you make them quickly and in full so your interest doesn't go up. But if that wasn't a thing, if there wasn't interest, you would just, and there wasn't a penalty, if you didn't pay it back, you just wouldn't pay it back. That's what the government does. They're the biggest corporation in the world. And I'm not anti-government. I like government. I think government's a good thing. I think like what Elon said, government should be the referee, but they shouldn't be a player on the field. They should just be a referee. You know, they should kind of like, we're like cattle. Humans are cattle. The citizens are cattle. They should just guide us a little bit, but they shouldn't be getting the whole damn hand and putting it in the they shouldn't be making the entire pie. You know, it's crazy because like, I don't know how many examples we need of when a government becomes too involved. It's a disaster because they don't know how to do anything. I mean, these congressmen and these congresswomen, like, they don't know, like, they can't agree on anything, you know? Like, you have the dude in the wheelchair, he's a complete idiot. You have AOC, who's, like, just so, she's losing her mind. You have that McCarthy dude who lost his mind for 8 hours. Like, what are you doing for 8 hours up there, bro? Like, you're trying to send a message, but the message is being lost. Like, we need conversation. What we need is a podcast with all these congressmen and congresswomen. I just think it's crazy. Like, we can't, I know for me personally, like, I don't rely on the government to give me anything. I take, if they give, I take, but I'm not waiting for the government to pick me up and put on boots and get me walking. No, they don't care. They don't know anything. They get paid. I pay those people. My taxes go in their pockets, but they don't do anything for me. And I don't expect them to. You know, if I have a team, I don't expect the ref to play for my team. I expect the ref to keep it even though. But they don't keep it even, you know? Like, this whole idea, like, they were talking about, like, oh, Elon, wouldn't it be nice, though, because they're paying for a bunch of EV electrical chargers. And he's like, we don't need that. And it's true, we don't need that. The government they don't own the gas stations, you know? Those are private businesses. Those are publicly traded companies that do that. That's Saudi Arabia, but that's neither here or there. I guess if you would have an option, would you rather have us own it or Saudi Arabia? I would say us, but, yeah, I just think that's mind-boggling that we rely so much on these people, but these people can't agree on anything, you know? And like this whole Omicron stuff, I don't think I've even gotten into this, but like this whole Omicron stuff is like, we've lost our minds over this. And then you have the Pfizer CEO up there talking about vaccines. He's not even a doctor, and like, of course he's going to talk about fourth vaccines. Of course they're hedging their bets. I mean, let's be honest, guys. If you, I don't think he's a bad person at all. I think he has a product that's making billions of dollars, making him millions and millions, if not billions of dollars from all the stock he owns. I don't blame him at all. Keep pushing it. Say that you need this vaccine, the fourth, fifth, sixth, make it a seasonal, make it a bi-seasonal thing, make it twice a year, bi-yearly vaccine. Dude, much respect to him. I nothing against him. Moderna, J&J, Regeneron, all these guys, AstraZeneca, nothing against these guys. But I think it's dangerous when they're being pushed so hard and there's no other alternative that's being talked about. We know that health is the most important thing when it comes to COVID. If you're a healthy individual, your chances of death go down. If you get vaccinated, also your chances of death go down. That you can have, they're the two things, but you can talk about both of them. YouTube shouldn't just, I think I probably just lost my ad revenue on that because I said that. YouTube shouldn't take that from me. That's a fact. We know that to be true. We know that to be true with every single health thing ever, ever, ever. We know that the healthier you are, your chances of death go down in every aspect ever in the history of humankind. But in this situation, we don't really talk about that. We just say you have to get vaccinated. And if you don't get vaccinated, you're killing people. And like this whole like just these crazy, like everything is a dichotomy with these fucking idiots. Like there's just like the right would say, my body, my choice when it comes to the vaccine. Don't pump me up with the vaccine. It's my body, my choice. But the right will also say, it's not your body, not your choice when it comes to abortion. It's crazy. The left will say, yeah, you having an ID to vote is racist. But on the same side, they'll say a vaccine card. If you don't have a vaccine card, you can't go anywhere. But the people in the country who are least vaccinated are those of lower income families, which tend to be people of color, African Americans, Hispanics. There's a reason for that. Let's think about that. Let's think about the history of this government, of this country, and people and African Americans. It's not that good of a history. They've used African Americans as test dummies for their vaccines. No wonder they don't want the vaccines. No wonder they don't trust the vaccine. I'm not speaking for all of them. I'm saying some. There's a hesitancy. There's a reason why. Because our government, your government, this country has never done anything for them. They still don't do anything for them. They don't help them. They use their lives to make money in the prison system. They use their lives to put them in lower income areas so people can own their property, and those people get tax benefits and paid by the government to keep them in one area. It's crazy. It's crazy. There's a book called Color of Law, and it's crazy. And then if you don't have a vaccine card, you can't go anywhere. Well, they're not vaccinated because they don't trust you because you've screwed them for a long time. It's crazy that we don't see that. It's nuts. I got to go. I got to shower. Guys, it's a 23-minute podcast. But you know what? I was hyped up today. I feel like I brought the heat. I'll see you guys hopefully Tuesday. I got a busy-ass weekend. Stressed as hell. I ate a crap ton of Chinese food. Shout out to Chinese people and your Chinese food. It's the same everywhere. That's the coolest thing about Chinese food. It's like McDonald's, but all different companies. I feel like there's one holding Chinese company and they just own everything in terms of Chinese food. Guys, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Please like, comment, subscribe, tell people about it. I'll see you guys soon enough. Peace out.